Good evening, everyone. Let's make a start. My name's Patrick Hall. I'm the Mayor of the City of Canning. It's Tuesday, the 29th of July, 2025, and we're starting pretty much right on time. It's 6 p.m. Welcome to one and all. Apart from declaring the ordinary council meeting open, I'd like to acknowledge the Whaleback people, the traditional custodians of the land, and we pay our respects, of course, to elders both past and present. May I ask everyone here this evening to please make sure your mobile phones are turned off or at least on silent for the duration of tonight's meeting. This meeting is also being live streamed via the City's YouTube channel. Council meetings are public meetings and any information you provide shall be recorded and may be made publicly accessible. The council chambers are not a parliament and parliamentary privilege does not apply. Elected members and staff are reminded that they may be held personally responsible if their comments are found to be defamatory or breach any duty of confidentiality, and statements made during council meetings are solely those of the person making them. Nothing expressed at a council meeting can be attributed to the City of Canning unless it is adopted by a resolution of council. Elected members and employees must disclose any financial, proximity or partiality interest that they may have in an item on the agenda and declare the interest at the commencement of the meeting or at the very latest when the item is about to be discussed. And of course, financial proximity and impartiality interests are to be disclosed in accordance with the provisions of the Act. Elected members disclosing a financial or proximity interest must not participate in that part of the briefing or meeting relating to their interest and must leave the meeting for the duration of that item. The confirmed minutes of a council meeting are the official record of that council meeting. Verbatim meeting minutes are not required. Nevertheless, the City does publish a full recording of the meeting. And recording of council meetings must not be copied, republished or reproduced without the City's express permission. As far as attendances this evening, the full council is here. Thank you, councillors. Approved leave of absence at item 2.2, there are none. Disclosures of interest. CEO, I'll ask you at item 3 to read through the disclosures of interest.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In relation to item 3.1, declarations of financial interest, I have received none. In relation to item 3.2, declarations of impartiality, I've received 2. The first from Mayor Hall. In relation to item OC 010 of 25, the item details appointment of independent presiding member and deputy presiding member to the Audit and Risk Committee. The nature of the association is the nominated proposed audit chair, Colin Murphy, resides in the street I live. I know Colin and have also sat on the WALGA Finance Committee with him. The second conflict I've received is from Deputy Mayor Mark Bain in relation to item IE 012 of 25. The item detail is a request for installation of a bench and commemorative plaque, Fern, Cove, Park, Wilson, Russell Gorton for Terry and Gay Gorton. The nature of Deputy Mayor Bain's association is, as a councillor, the Deputy Mayor met and became acquainted with Mrs Gorton.
Thank you, CEO. At item 4, announcements by the presiding member, there are none this evening. At item 5, reports of delegates without discussion. Does any member wish to present a delegate report or table a report? None, thank you. Question time for public at item 6.1. Response to previous questions taken on notice. There are none. Question time for the public. I'm going to open question time now. It's about 4 minutes past 6 p.m. The time set aside is 15 minutes. I know we've got some written questions here. For recording purposes, when you come to the podium just at the front, staff here will turn the microphone on, so you don't have to worry about the microphone. I'll just ask you to please state your name and address and then proceed to ask your question in front of the council. There won't be a question and answer, we will actually ask you to ask your question. We will do our very best to provide an answer to you here. In accordance with policy AD02, members of the public who have registered their questions with the City's administration shall be called upon in which the order in which the registrations were received, and written questions will always precede verbal questions. The City's received questions tonight from Andrea Grafton. Andrea, you here? Would you like to step forward? Lovely to make your acquaintance. Thanks for coming in. If you could just introduce yourself, please, and then just read your questions out one by one, and we'll do our very best to get an answer for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. My name is Andrea Grafton and I live at 56A Kalangedy Drive in Riverton. My first question is a commercial vehicle repair business previously reported to the council was in operation from a residential two-car garage at Kalangedy Drive in Riverton at 7:30 p.m. Yesterday, the 28th of July, as it has been for the last 5 years. My specific question is there a specific City of Canning bylaw that allows such a business to operate in a residentially zoned R40 street?
Thank you. Director Graham Bride.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. The City has investigated the matter and has not been able to substantiate through interviews and site inspections that a mechanical repair business is currently operating. Notwithstanding, if there is any further evidence, and you just mentioned tonight that there may have been an event last night, we're happy to continue investigating that operation. In terms of your question around bylaws, in a residential zone, home businesses can be approved. Obviously, mechanical repair business wouldn't be an approvable land use, but certainly there are some commercial land uses that are able to be considered in the residential zone, but there are strict controls and development approvals required.
The City will continue to monitor the situation there. Can I have your second question?
Thank you.
you.
Question 2. The City's verge policy ET.529 clearly outlines what is and isn't permitted, with no reference to low-risk breaches or any enforcement discretion based on subjective risk classification. Yet, I've been told by the City Greening team that action on a confirmed verge non-compliance at 54 and 54A Kalangedy Drive has been added to the bottom of the list because it is considered low risk, even though I've been involved in 2 near misses. My question is simple. Is the council aware that City staff are choosing not to proactively intervene when breaches of verge bylaws are reported in progress, nor enforcing bylaws after the non-compliant verge works are completed?
Director Warren Bowe.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to differentiate there, Ms Grafton, in relation to the enforcement of council policy and a council local law, it is not our staff's right to apply and interpret the local law, but what we would do is take a risk-based approach to the application of the policy. And certainly we encourage our staff, given the amount of complaints that we deal with in this space, both within the city greening space and across the other directorates, we encourage our staff to take a common sense and a risk-based approach to compliance with our policies.
Thank you. Your third question.
My third question is, will the council proactively engage in the urban planning necessary to maintain safety, livability and amenity on Kalangedy Drive in an R40 zone, specifically including initiatives such as footpath installation, traffic management and the protection of green spaces, including our street trees?
Director Bowe.
Definitely, Mr Mayor, and I'd certainly be willing to meet with Ms Grafton in relation to that moving forward.
Thank you.
Andrea, can I ask, would you be happy to meet with Director Bowe personally to discuss those issues in Kalangedy?
Thank you very much.
You happy with that? Okay. Okay, well, thank you for coming along, certainly with the time making the appearance, and Council appreciates it, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any further questions from the public gallery tonight? There are none. Okay. That being the case, no, we'll move on to deputations in a moment. I can see you looking a bit confused. I think it's coming up. No further questions. Are there further questions? None. That being the case, I'll close public question time now. The time is 9 minutes past 6 p.m. We shall move on to the confirmation minutes at item 7, and they are the from the ordinary council meeting back on the 17th of June 2025. The recommendation is on screen, also appears on page 6 of tonight's agenda. Can I have a mover, please, for the item? Deputy Mayor, thank you. A seconder would be Councillor Shen Sekon. Thank you, councillors. We'll put the recommendation to the vote.
The motion to confirm the June OCM minutes has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. Also on item 7, we have the special council meeting also held on the 17th of June 2025. We're dealing with that separately. The recommendation being that the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 1st of July, 2025 be confirmed as having been circulated. The recommendation is on page 6 of the agenda and the recommendation is on screen. Can I have a mover please from the floor? Councillor Joanne Page. Thank you, Councillor Page. A seconder, Councillor Rodriguez. Can we put the item to the vote, please?
The motion to confirm the special council meeting minutes of the 1st of July has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. At item 8, we have the receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. At item 8.1 petitions, we have 2 petitions this evening. The first one is a PET 004 of 25. The petition title is an objection to the installation of barbecues at Montes Park in Riverton. The recommendation before you this evening is that the petition be received and referred to the CEO for action. And councillors, just in relation to both of these items, both of the petitioners are proposing to provide a deputation to council at item 8.3 that will be coming up. So the first recommendation is simply that the petition be received by council and referred to the CEO for action. The petition has been received from Margaret Smith of Riverton. The recommendation is on page 8 of the agenda and is on screen now. Thank you to our governance staff. Can I have a mover, please, for the item? Deputy Mayor, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Second, thank you. Does anyone wish to speak to the item before we put it to the vote? Councillor Singh.
Just a quick question, Mr. Mayor. Wouldn't it be logical to hear the deputation first before we vote on these matters?
So the standing orders actually stipulate the order in which items are presented. It's a local law. We can't just change it ad hoc. It probably would make sense. Very rare in the 10 years I've been on council that we've received a petition and had a deputation on the same night. We're simply, there are 4 actions under the standing orders for a petition. This is one that council probably should support, which is to refer this to the CEO for action. So rather than just noting it, we're actually sending it off to the CEO to be actioned. So, but yes, I take your point. Thank you. Councillors, we might just input the item to the vote. Thank you.
Petition 004-25 has been carried unanimously with all 10 voting in favour.
Thank you. PET 005 of 25 is the next item. It's also a petition. The heading of the petition is Safer Student Crossing at the corner of Burrendah Boulevard and Vahland Avenue in Willetton. The recommendation again is that the petition be received and referred to the CEO for action. The petition has been received from Loong of Willetton, WA, and the recommendation is on page 8 and is on screen. Can I have a mover for this recommendation, please? Thank you. That would be Councillor Shen Second. Thank you. A seconder, Councillor Page. Councillors, let's put the item to the vote.
Petition 005-25 has been carried unanimously with all 10 voting in favour.
Thank you. And at item 8.2, presentations are a none this evening. At 8.3, deputations, as previously mentioned, we do have 2 deputations for council this evening. The first of which has been approved for Mrs. Sandra D'Onofrio of Riverton, WA, regarding the petition relating to barbecue installations at Montes Park. Sandra, would you like to please come forward? Thank you and good evening. Don't be nervous. You're amongst friends. Just introduce yourself to council and go ahead. You've got up to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Sandra D'Onofrio and I'm from Montes Square in Riverton.
We're just here tonight to represent the petitions in response to the notice first received in December 2024 regarding the city's Montes Square Park investment strategy. Several residents and ratepayers have been objecting to the barbecue component of this since then and have emailed or called the councillors that were in power at the time directly with their objections. Montes Park is not suitable for a barbecue due to its size and types of uses it attracts. It's not a long-stay park equipped with toilets. Once people start eating and drinking, there is a need for toilets for young or old. Several residents, myself included, have had visitors to the park knock on our doors requesting to use our toilets. It's a very awkward moment to say no, and our private households are not for public toilet use, especially in the escalating environment of safety and security concerns. You just have to watch the news to see some instances. Montes Park is known to have a very good welcoming community spirit with both residents and people visiting the park. We even have old neighbours come back to visit us here that used to reside in the suburb and the surrounding streets, and this is without a barbecue in location, so it's not that we're blocking any community spirit. We do suggest locally there is the Riverton Reserve near the Leisureplex. Wouldn't it be a useful and logical setup to have a barbecue located there, especially as there are already public toilets and facilities? This is just 2 minutes from Montes Park location, so it's super accessible to all, already with lighting and plenty of parking. Montes Park is a popular dog exercise park. The dogs are very happy running around chasing the ball, and once they smell meat on the barbecue, they may become inquisitive and head to the barbecue instead of their water bowl. This wouldn't be a good mix. There is concern of potential unsocial behaviour. Montes Park is not designed to become a public attraction, and with additional parking facilities, and is not the park to add a barbecue with the way the park's pleasant community environment already is. This is a safe residential area. There have been other barbecue locations where it's become quite an unrest environment and tends to attract uncertain and unsocial behaviour. Rubbish. How is this to be maintained? With extra bins? The dog bin is regularly full from people driving into the park and dumping their rubbish in it as it is. And now how often will the bin be emptied? There are further concerns on the bin issue. We also would like to point out that the river is also just 2 minutes away with public toilets, lighting, gazebos, seating with beautiful Canning River views, nature life and allocated parking facility. This is the best way to add in some more public amenities with money from the City of Canning's spend budget. It is also a question of when a likely consultation period had been conducted, as you're referring to installing new facilities, as this is not a replacement or upgrade of a barbecue area in the location proposed. In closing, Montes Park is a short-term park with users coming and going over short periods of time. The park is appreciated by everyone for what it is, and it works well in its current form. The residents and ratepayers feel a very large expense, and it's no hidden fact that the barbecue has a price tag starting at $50,000 upwards, needed to install, and then more money needed to continue on for maintaining the barbecue is not justified and could be better used for other projects to benefit the wider community. We thank you for your continued efforts and work within our ward, and we appreciate the Council's significant investment in upgrading Montes Park, as the proposed seating and fountain are welcomed additions. Thank you.
Thank you. Fabulous. Thanks for coming down this evening. I very much appreciate it, and Council will certainly consider what you said this evening, so thank you. And for those who have already spoken, Andrea, if those who are about to speak too, please feel free to leave the meeting at any time. You don't need to stay around for the rest of the meeting, so we appreciate you coming down and addressing Council, but please feel free to leave whenever you would like to do so. Thank you. The second deputation we have tonight is a deputation which has been approved for Loong U of Riverton, WA, regarding a safer student crossing at the corner of Burrendah Boulevard and Vahland Avenue. Would you like to come forward, please, and make your deputation? Similarly, you have up to 10 minutes. If you'd like to introduce yourself to council and then commence your deputation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Patrick Hall, directors and all the councillors for the opportunity for me to speak this evening in regards to this matter. My name is Loong Yu, and I live on Chapel Crescent in Willetton. And the reason I'm here this evening is to present a petition to put a safer crossing for students on the corner of Burrendah Boulevard and Vahland Avenue. So firstly, I'd like to thank Canning Council for reducing the speed limit of Burrendah Boulevard and Pine Tree Gully from 50 to 40 Ks. That indeed is helpful because, as you all know, probably 1 or 2 years ago, there was an incident in front of Willetton Senior High School where a car has hit a student, and unfortunately that car did not stop. So by slowing down cars, we could save more lives. I live on the east side of Vahland Avenue, and Vahland Avenue runs north to south, joining South Street and connecting on the north side to Leach Highway. So Vahland Avenue is a very, very busy street, and during peak hours, during when people are going to work or have finished work and are returning home, Vahland Avenue becomes almost like a highway. And I also thank you for reducing that speed limit from 70 to 60. I have been a resident of Willetton for over 30 years, of which 10 are spent on Chapel Crescent, and previously I was on Glenmoy Avenue, just opposite Domino's. So I have seen the improvements in the traffic. I used to cycle to Willetton Senior High School myself as a student, and there has been an introduction of a traffic light on the corner of Collins Road and Vahland Avenue. So I'm very appreciative of that. So this particular petition has been signed by 26 residents on the east side of Vahland Avenue, and each one of them have an interest in getting this done because they all have kids that go to either Burrendah Primary School or Willetton Senior High School. And my two girls are here. Can you stand up, please?
Good evening, girls.
They are in Burrendah Primary School at the moment, of which Chelsea will be going to Willetton Senior High School, which is the high school I graduated from. It's a wonderful school. So my suggestion was if I could perhaps have this petition to either introduce a crossing for students during school hours, whether it's starting or finishing, which is what do you call them? We'll have a traffic warden system, which is not too costly to implement, I hope. And that would allow cars to sort of slow down and not rush through Vahland Avenue. Now, on Chapel Crescent, which runs parallel to Vahland Avenue, I've been there 10 years and I've seen quite a few crashes happening on that intersection. One of which at 3 a.m., a particular young gentleman was traveling south of Vahland Avenue and way too quickly and couldn't negotiate that bend. So if there was a traffic light there, it could potentially have, he could have avoided that, that accident. And luckily he was alive. He walked away unscathed. And we were quite shocked when we heard that crash at 3 a.m. in the morning. So that is on that corner between Burrendah Boulevard and South Street. That little stretch of Vahland Avenue is about 480 meters. I've just done a quick measure with Google Map. And I think it shouldn't affect South Street's traffic flow if it tends to only bank up from north to south as people are traveling towards Canningvale and going back to the home in Livingston, Ranford, Harrisdale, Canningvale. And the banking up of the traffic on South Street goes west to east towards Canningvale as well. So that traffic light would not cause additional chaos on the corner of South Street and Vahland Avenue. My second suggestion was if we, beyond the traffic warden, is perhaps a traffic light. I think that having a traffic light on that corner of intersection not only helps all the students be able to cross a 5-lane street. Vahland Avenue on that corner of Burrendah Boulevard is 3 lanes wide, and on the other side, heading north, is 2 lanes wide. So we're asking a lot of primary kids to cross 5 lanes of traffic, and these cars are traveling at 60 k's an hour both ways, and the volume increases dramatically in the morning and in the evening. With the traffic light system in place, the kids can safely all cross and, hopefully become productive citizens who will be also ratepayers to City of Canning. And I did work out that with each student we save, we're looking at between the age of 20 and 67. So they'll be paying 47 years of tax at $20,000 per year with an average income of 80,000 gross income, paying 20,000. That will work out to $940,000 over a lifetime with each student saved. So if there were about 100 students on the east side of Vahland Avenue, all being saved, and we're looking at roughly about 940,000 times 100. So we're looking at $94 million. Okay, so I think thank you for the time. I think I might have taken up more than 10 minutes.
No, you haven't. 5 minutes and 33 seconds. I've got it on my screen right in front of me. Don't worry, guys.
Thank you very much.
You did very well. Thank you very much. Look, thank you for coming down. Council, a number of councillors here have raised in this room issues in relation to student safety around our schools, and for that reason the City of Canning recently worked very hard with authorities to lower the speed limit around Willetton High School. You'd be aware of this, in the primary schools around 40 kilometres an hour. We've reduced Vahland Avenue from 70 to 60. We're working really hard there, but Council have actually tasked me with meeting with the relevant minister to talk about just safety per se around a lot of the crossings in the City of Canning. I happen to be meeting with the CEO tomorrow, the minister responsible, Reece Whitby. So we're meeting him tomorrow to discuss items around safety of students and school crossings, and a much wider and broader conversation around those two topics. So I will be sure to float that with him tomorrow. So the matter has gone to the CEO for actioning. There'll be a period of assessment, obviously. We need to justify any business case for a crossing. That will take some time, but we will certainly, the City of Canning will be in touch with you at some stage, and we will undertake those actions. But thank you for coming down. Thank you, girls. Thanks for coming along this evening and accompanying Mum and Dad. Did very well. Thank you. We move on to item 9, which are applications for leave of absence. There are none this evening. Thank you. Number 10, questions from members for which due notice has been given without discussion. There are none this evening. Items brought forward for the convenience of the public. There are none. Reports of committee meetings. Similarly, there are none. Reports. The first of the reports at item 13 is item 13.1 from the Office of the CEO, Michael Littleton. It's the OC 006 of 25. It's the adjourned item, Annual Review of Register of Delegations 2025. The item was previously moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Secon. The item was then, there was a procedural motion then undertaken by myself. The item was moved and seconded by both I and Councillor Secon, and both of whom have already spoken to the item. I now reconvene this matter at that point in time and ask if there's anyone else wishing to speak for or against the item before I put the item of the Annual Register of Delegations to the vote. None. Thank you. We shall put the item to the vote. Thank you.
Adjourned item OC 00625 has been carried by absolute majority with all 10 voting in favour. Thank you.
Thank you, Governance. At OC 009 of 25, the title of the report being Western Australian Local Government Association, in brackets, WALGA, 2025 Annual General Meeting, City of Canning voting delegates. The officer's recommendation is that Council nominate Deputy Mayor Bain and Mayor Hall as voting delegates, and we do have, if we have nominations, first, second and third proxy voting delegates for the Western Australian Local Government Association's 2025 Annual General Meeting. The recommendation is on page 28 of the agenda and is also on screen. Do I have any councillors wishing to nominate as either a first, second or third proxy voting delegate for the meeting? None. That's okay. Councillor Deputy Mayor Bain and I will make do. Thank you. The officer's recommendation will therefore be the council nominate Deputy Mayor Bain and Mayor Hall as voting delegates for the Western Australian Local Government Association's 2025 Annual General Meeting to be held on Tuesday the 23rd of September 2025 at the Perth Convention and Exhibition Centre. Governance, have those changes been made whilst I've been reading? It'll just be, yes, thank you. Thank you, councillors. That will be the recommendation in front of you. It appears on page 28 of the agenda and is now on screen. I'm happy to move that from the chair if I can have a seconder. Deputy Mayor Bain, thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak on the item before I put it to the vote? Thank you. We shall put the item to the vote.
Motion OC 00925 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. We move to OC 010 of 25, the title of the report being the appointment of independent presiding member and deputy presiding member to the city's Audit and Risk Committee. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 35 of the agenda, and this item requires an absolute majority of council. And just for noting, I've also already declared, and the CEO read it to the meeting, an impartiality interest in this item. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Page, thank you. A seconder. Councillor Parkinson, thank you. Councillor Page, would you like to say anything in relation to the item?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Parkinson?
Nothing further to add, thanks.
Thank you. I'd only add that it's a rare thing for this council and a real coup, I think, for the City of Canning to have been able to secure Mr Colin Murphy to chair the Risk Committee. Colin is the former Auditor General for the state of Western Australia and held that position for 10 years. I've been the chair for, I think, the last 6 years, but it's a real pleasure to be able to step down and for the city to have secured someone of such standing in the community, and I think I welcome his involvement. And Miss Elsie Lee, as the other independent deputy presiding member, she has served on the Audit and Risk Committee for some years and is an exceptional candidate. I'm really pleased to see that she has nominated for this position. So I do support both of those appointments and hope council will do too. If anyone else wishes to speak, I'll hear it. If not, we shall put the item to the vote. Councillor Hearn.
I just want to say that I agree with what you've just said. Mr Murphy has a very, very impressive resume, and Miss Elsie also has a wealth of experience, and I think we are very lucky to have these two individuals on board.
We can only benefit from their involvement. Yes, I agree. And we'll put the item to the vote. Thank you.
Motion OC 01025 has been carried by absolute majority with all 10 voting in favour.
Thank you. The next two items come from the directorship of the Acting Director of Corporate and Commercial, Miss Keely Haywood, the first of which is CC 013 of 25, the monthly financial report from back in May 2025. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 43 of the agenda. Can I have a mover, please, for that first item? Deputy Mayor, thank you. A seconder. Councillor Kunza, thanks, Councillor Kunza. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I support the officer's recommendation.
Councillor Kunza.
Likewise, Mayor Hall, I support the officer recommendation.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak on the item before I put it to the vote? Thank you. We shall put it to the vote.
Motion CC 013-25 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. The next item is CC 014 of 25. This is the financial report for back in June 2025. The officer's recommendation is on screen. The recommendation is before you, Council. It also appears on page 90 of the published agenda for tonight's meeting. Can I have a mover, please, for the item? Councillor Kunza, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Page? Thank you. Councillor Kunza?
I support the officer recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Page?
Thank you, Mayor Hall. Nothing further to add.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak on the item before we put it to the vote? Thank you. We shall put the item to the vote.
Motion CC-01425 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. We move to CC 015 of 25. The item is, the title of the item, is Proposed Lease for the Canning River Canoe Club at 41 Queen's Park Road in Wilson. The officer's recommendation is on screen. There has been a proposal for a alternate recommendation. The way I'm going to handle that is, and Councillor Kunza has proposed the alternate recommendation. Just in relation to that, happy to take it as either an amendment or to take it as a foreshadowed motion. Councillor Kunza, what I'd propose is that you move the motion as is, foreshadow the proposed alternate motion instead of an alternate as a foreshadowed. You can speak against the officer's recommendation in support of the foreshadowed, and then we will deal with it in that way. And I only say that because I've made it pretty clear over the last couple of years about alternate motions. So if you're happy to go with that, I think that's be the cleanest way. Probably not the cleanest way to deal with it, but probably the way that it should be preferred. Councillor Kunza, would you like to move the officer's recommendation? And I'll ask for a seconder. Deputy Mayor would be the seconder. And what I'll do is, if you wanted to propose a foreshadowed motion, I'll ask a governors to put that up on screen, and then I'll ask you to speak first of all to the recommendation and then to your foreshadowed if you'd like to. Thank you, Councillor Kunza.
Yes, Mayor Hall, I would like to propose the foreshadowed motion as has been circulated. Won't read out the whole thing though.
Thank you. And councillors, just in relation to that, well, I'll leave Councillor Kunza to speak to that. I'm sure he'll address it as part of his discussion around the current recommendation in front of you. Councillor Kunza.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. I'm going to start by acknowledging in the audience former councillor David Brown, who's in the room. David served on this council for 2 years some time ago when I first started on council, and I don't want to start by giving him a heart attack by speaking against this recommendation because I believe he's here for this. But basically I'm asking you to vote against the officer recommendation because we need to put in a completely different council resolution in order to look at the waste levy and provide a different solution. Now, I apologise that it actually looks rather complex. This is not the way that I'd like to do it. As some of you may know, I've been talking about the fees that community groups receive for a number of years now, and I simply believe it's ridiculous to be charging a community group the Tier 1 facility rate of $394 excluding GST to lease a facility, which is actually very minimal, especially when it's a $400,000 facility, but then to charge them $424 for a waste fee for a service the club has never needed in the past and doesn't need going forward. And it only impacts a very few number of our community groups, but I've always said that I think that the staff and the city should have capacity within our policies to look at these situations where a community group takes on a lease but doesn't generate any waste and doesn't need a waste service. The CEO has put forward a different structure in terms of charging community groups, and hopefully it actually provides more equity and a more appropriate fee structure for all groups going forward. And that's why I'd ask you to vote against this so that we can put forward my alternative recommendation and provide a bit more of an appropriate waste fee structure for local community groups. I fully support the lease towards the Canning River Canoe Club, but in terms of voting against this will allow a different way to look at the waste. If you vote against this and then my alternative is supported, it'll mean that if the Canning River Canoe Club doesn't expect to generate waste and doesn't need any bins, it pays $0. However, if it subsequently decides it does need a bin, it can therefore get one at a more appropriate rate. And for those groups that produce more waste than that, they could get a couple of bins, 3 bins for $300, so forth. But my original intention coming in here was to actually remove the waste fee, but I think what the CEO has provided is a far more appropriate way to look forward and provide a bit more structure to all groups. So I would ask for you to vote against the officer recommendations so that we can put forward the alternative recommendation or the foreshadowed motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Mark Bain.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I echo the sentiments of Councillor Kunza and also thank former Councillor David Brown for his attendance tonight. He's also a long-time member of the Canning River Canoe Club. So similarly, as Councillor Kunza, I won't be supporting the officer recommendation as it currently stands tonight, as the lease includes a waste charge for a service that the Canoe Club does not need. The club will only be using the facility for storage and will not generate any waste. Therefore, the lease, as proposed, is not compatible with the club's needs. The alternate motion, as put forward by Councillor Kunze, is much more cost-effective for community groups as a whole. The idea that community groups can now opt in and have a say on the level of waste service they require and can afford is a much more fairer approach. They will no longer have to pay a full property rate, but instead pay a community waste rate that meets and is tailored to their needs. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Kunza. Councillors, just to fast-track this, if anyone wishes to speak in favour of the officer's recommendation, I'll hear you. If not, we shall put the matter to the vote. Does anyone wish to speak in favour? Yes, Councillor Hearn.
Is it possible to ask a question?
Of course it is, yeah.
Okay, concerning the proposed changes to the policy, the amount that was initially scheduled for waste services is $424 per year. I understand the issue that's been addressed in this specific incident, but the policy changes $200 per bin per year, $150 per recycling bin for a full year. Is it known whether there's any community groups who are currently on this rating fees schedule that would be worse off under this change? Say perhaps they had 2 waste bins for a full year and 1 recycling bin, they'd actually end up paying more than that $424 annual fee. Is there any information about that?
CEO.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, we don't believe this fee structure will have anybody worse off. We think that this will, in fact, support community clubs going forward. So the current fee structure that we apply is for a full property service. Obviously, a residential service has a much more complex bin regime, a weekly organic, a weekly recycle, tip passes, as well as verge collections. This will be a much more fee-for-service. It will cover our costs and will reduce the costs of waste for community clubs going forward, but it will cover the city's costs for that particular service.
Thank you. Councillor Hardeep Singh.
Just a quick question for CEO, Mr. Mayor. CEO, assuming the foreshadow motions goes ahead, do you plan to take a similar approach, which is explained in the foreshadowed motion, towards the other community clubs in the city, so that we are treating all the clubs in a similar manner, especially the changes made in the foreshadowed motion?
CEO.
That's absolutely the intent, which is why parts 3, 4 and 5 of the resolution are included in this motion.
Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Without any further ado, there's no need to rebut. We shall put the item to the vote. If you intend to support the foreshadowed motion, you would then need to ensure that the officer's recommendation is not carried. So I'll ask you to cast your vote. This is in relation to the officer's recommendation. Thank you, councillors.
Motion CC-015-25 has been lost, with all 10 councillors voting against the motion.
Thank you. That being the case, the foreshadowed motion becomes a substantive motion for the time being. Councillor Kunze, you have already moved that foreshadowed motion. Did you wish to speak further to it? Oh, I also need a seconder for the foreshadowed motion. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Mark Bain has nominated himself as a seconder. Councillor Kunza.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. Look, I'd just like to say that I think since before I got onto council, the development or the proposed improvements to Kent Street Weir has been on the cards, discussed. The future of the Canning River Canoe Club and finding a home and working out what to do that has been one of the key elements of that. And so for the city to be in the process of building that is fantastic. And I just wanted to share some comment from their president, who I assume he wouldn't mind, but he just wanted to take the opportunity when he was liaising with me to commend the council, city staff and contractors involved in the delivery of this new boat shed and thank all involved in bringing the development concept to a reality. He states it's an impressive, well-built structure that has been sensitive to the riverside location and club members are eager to see it finished and moved in. So I just wanted to share that and commend the CEO's team for what's been provided. And also thank the CEO for his assistance in getting a resolution on my long-held view on the fee structure. So thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to say anything further?
Nothing further to add, Mr Mayor, other than thank you to Councillor Kunza, but also thank you to the CEO for assisting with the aforementioned motion, which is now this substantive motion. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just say just a very few words in support of the what is now the substantive motion, and also echo their sentiments about the work of the administration, and also Councillor Kunza bring it. Ben, from memory, I think many years ago, maybe the sailing club at Shelley had a similar issue where I don't think they even had a bin, but were being charged a fee, a similar fee, a significant fee for a very small club that they struggled every year to meet, including rates, I think, at that time. So I think this will be welcomed. And I just wanted to make the point that this sort of compromise can be reached and this sort of achievement can be reached when there's trust between an administration and its council. And, I'm really pleased to see us working so collegiately and collaboratively together. There's been a lot of really bad press recently about councils, and I don't really wish to dip my toe into that conversation other than to say, but I will anyway, other than to say the City of Canning has worked really hard over the last 10 years to restore its own reputation as a leading Western Australian local government. And I think, the trust over the last few years many years now, between CEO, administration and this council is showing enormous benefit to the community. And I'm really pleased with this council, the way it's working. And I think this particular motion that's been raised by Councillor Kunza tonight shows that a progressive council can be flexible in its approach, and being flexible, we can come up with really good outcomes for our community. So congratulations to Councillor Kunza for putting it. I speak in favour of it and hope others will also choose to support the alternate recommendation, which is now substantive. Anyone else wish to speak before I put the matter to close? Councillor Hearns, yes.
Am I able to make an amendment to this motion?
You can propose an amendment. What were you proposing?
I'm proposing to add a C that there is a maximum, which is the standard annual published waste services charge, just to be sure that none of our community groups...
So just where exactly, what exactly is the amendment? In which number?
So under community waste services, we have stipulated charges for general waste and then recycling bin. I would like to see a C added that there is a maximum, which is the annual standard waste services charge, whatever we call it, just to make sure that if any of our community groups have like 3 bins, they're not actually ending up paying more than the standard published waste services charge, rather than waiting for these incidents to pop up.
Yeah, if we've got a seconder, we'll call that. I just want to make sure there's no inadvertent consequence to that. CEO, can I just ask, in relation to the motion put by Councillor Kunza that was actually cobbled together by yourself in collaboration with him, have you got a comment in relation to the amendment?
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. The current residential fees that are being applied highlight 436 actually now, in this year, but for subsequent bins it actually goes up in price. So what we are proposing is a different fee construct than a residential service, which is why we're calling it a community waste service. What I'm saying is that with a fee at $200 per bin and $150 per recycling bin, they will not be charged at a greater rate because the service configuration for residential services is substantially more and is constructed around a different offering. So that's the way that we've tried to ensure that community waste services are effectively less, but also cover the city's costs.
Can I, so you have it on the public record, if you'd like to go ahead with it. It's on the public record now. That's what the CEO has said has happened. CEO, can I just ask in relation to the relevant policy, will tonight's decision automatically change the policy, or will the policy still come back to council for ratification with those changes?
No, the intent is that the policy BR01 will be amended accordingly. The matter of the community waste service will then need to be advertised in accordance with 619 of the Local Government Act. If there are, I think once that is established, then the waste fee will be set. Of course, it is open for council to amend that fee, either through its annual budget process or by a similar process around amendment in accordance with 619. So this is a far more transparent way of us applying a community waste service charge to our community groups.
So, Councillor Hearn, happy to hear your amendment, but the CEO's given his public assurance tonight that that'll be the case. Your first question was about would anybody be worse off? Answer to that earlier was no. And in relation to this, I think he's given a fairly unequivocal assurance of what you're intending to put. I think it'll be done. I know it'll be done.
Based on the information I've heard, I'm happy to withdraw that proposed amendment.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, councillors. We shall put the item to the vote.
The alternate motion for CC-01525 has been carried by absolute majority with all 10 voting in favour.
Thank you. We move to item 13.4 on page 147 of tonight's agenda. Director Warren Bowe, the Director of Infrastructure and Environment, is the relevant officer. It's IE 011 of 25, review of policy ET 545, recognition of and protection of significant trees, dash financial incentive for private significant trees. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears, as I said earlier, on page 147 of tonight's agenda. Can I have a mover for this item? That would be Councillor Kunza, and a seconder would be Councillor Joanne Page. Councillor Kunza.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. Look, the adoption of this revised policy, ET 545, will hopefully go a long way to helping protect significant trees across the City of Canning, and importantly go a way to demonstrating to other local governments that there's ways to help reduce the level of tree clearing. Now, one of the reasons it's important that we look at innovative ways to deal with the loss of mature trees on private property is that we know that the state government has close to no interest in doing anything significant to stop it. It's been 7 years since the state government suspended the Green Growth Plan, which was later binned, and nothing has been implemented in its stead to deal with clearing across Perth's undeveloped land. In regard to discussing private land, this council asked the Mayor to write to the Premier advocating for a statewide approach towards the retention of trees on private land, and the Mayor did write an extensive letter. A response was received from the Planning Minister, the Honourable John Kerry MLA, who categorically outlined the state government's position. The state government is deeply cognizant of the current environment that necessitates the critical need to deliver more housing supply. The state government doesn't support requiring development applications for the removal or maintenance of trees on private property except through voluntary measures. Now, apparently the state government also has a goal to double the Perth tree canopy cover to 30% by 2040, despite our population increasing to over 3 million by then. The goal is simply unrealistic when you consider the strategies in place revolve around tree baits and investing to replace trees that were lost due to polyphagous shothole borer. Now, without the legislative controls provided by the state government, we at our local government levels have little hope at preventing the clearing of mature significant trees, which is why it's important that we actually look at innovative ways and initiatives like this. By having landowners choose to be on the register, we can work to provide a heightened level of protection for significant trees and achieve the aims of the urban forest strategy, which forecasts a loss of around 34 hectares on private land if nothing changes. Now, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the environment staff for their work in this space and the work done to revise the policy to cater for the provision of financial incentives. I believe the new policy addresses a number of issues that have been previously raised and also provides the oversight as well as clarifies the process as to how it will work. I think we should be proud that the City of Canning will be pioneers in this space through this policy and voluntary measures, and hopefully other local governments will not only be assessing how we go, but think of other ways that at a local government level we can look at stepping in to try to protect mature trees on private land within the legislative framework. And I ask you to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kunza. Councillor Page.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. I think it is really, really important that the City of Canning is doing this and extending the significant tree registry to those private properties and assigning a value to these significant trees because they do have value. So we're sort of putting our money where our mouth is. We're trying to encourage people to keep these really big, beautiful, significant trees, and we're saying that they're valuable. And now we're actually proving it with this policy. And I think it's very well thought out, great effort and work from the team. And yes, I support the officer's recommendation. I hope everyone else does too. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the officer's recommendation? Look, I'm going to say a few words in support of the recommendation, only because I made such a display of myself when I opposed this recommendation when it first came to council. I'm not sure I absolutely understood it, but I was concerned about the potential cost, but I really have been swayed over recent months, having dug a little bit deeper and having seen what has actually been happening more recently in other councils and how people are struggling with this issue. I really don't know whether it'll work. I certainly hope it does. I don't know whether it'll materially make a difference to the number of trees being retained, but again, I really do hope that it does. But I'm prepared to support the recommendation because something must be done to arrest the wholesale removal of trees on private property, and I think probably the key to that is through incentives rather than punitive action. And I think if we can bring people along with us, those that voluntarily come along with us, I think we're going to see some benefit. So I will be supporting the recommendation tonight. Councillor Singh.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to propose an amendment to the officer's recommendation. The amendment is basically to add item 3 to request the CEO to provide a progress report 1 year from the implementation of this property, reporting how many private trees has been registered, or happy to put it as just a progress report for the council 1 year from the implementation of this property.
CEO, would I ask, would a progress report cover, obviously I know what Councillor Singh's intent would be and what he might request. Does the term progress report provide the clarity you require? Would you like another term in there, or are you happy with that?
No, we can handle the context of progress report. Okay, I think, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
So 12 months? Okay. Councillor Kunza, are you happy to accept that as a minor amendment? It's just a progress report comes back to council within 12 months? I'm happy to accept that as a minor amendment with the agreement of the mover and the seconder. Councillor Bain, are you happy to accept that? Oh, Councillor Page, sorry. Councillor Page. That's why Deputy Mayor was looking so perplexed then. Councillor Page, you're happy to accept that. Thank you. I'll accept that, Councillor Singh, as a minor addition and a minor amendment that doesn't change the material intent of the item. Councillor Kunz, there's no need to rebut. I don't think anyone's spoken against it. That being the case, Councillor Hearn.
I'm speaking for. It is my view that this policy really is tinkering around the edges of a pretty dire situation we have in the City of Canning with respect to our tree canopy. I'm aware that our current strategies have severe constraints, largely on account of practical and financial measures. We do have planning schemes and strategies in place that are inherently in conflict with the goal to retain and grow our tree canopy. And we'll continue to see further erosion in our tree canopy as we pursue higher density living. The projections in the motion of approximately 30 trees registered in 3 years seems to me a little bit like a distraction from the main game. But we don't know until we give it a go, and I do see that innovative approaches are very much needed on this matter. The cost to the city is relatively low, and I'm supportive of adopting this policy to see how it goes, and hopefully as a segue into more progressive and innovative thinking in this area.
Thank you, councillors. Let's put the item to the vote.
Motion IE-01125 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is IE-012 of 25. Deputy Mayor Mark Bain has already declared an impartiality interest in relation to this item. The item's title is Request for the Installation of a Bench and Commemorative Plaque, Fern Cove Park in Wilson, for Russell Gorton for Terry and Gay Gorton. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 174 of the agenda. Can I have a mover? That would be the Deputy Mayor. Seconder, Councillor Page. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I support the officer's recommendation. I remember with great fondness the first time that I met Mrs. Gorton while I was door knocking before the 2019 election. She was so very kind and welcoming to me. We had a great chat about the history of Wilson. Her love and passion for the area, the local environment and fellow residents really shone through. Over the years, I would come to learn of the significant and invaluable contributions Gay and her husband Terry made to that history. Nyana Homestead at Castledare would unlikely be standing today without Gay's tireless efforts to preserve it. Through her advocacy, which included organising an on-site visit with Dr. Jeff Gallup, resulted in the 1906 built homestead, which has been subjected to vandalism and decay, being restored and heritage listed. So too does the restoration and revegetation of the Wilson main drain and preservation of the surrounding regional park stand as reminders of Gay and Terry's hard work. Even in her later years, while Terry was in care, Gay's love and passion for the community and environment continued. Gay remained very active and played a key role in getting the new entry statement installed at Castledare, which can be seen on the left-hand side of the entrance to Castledare Place. Gay also advocated for shade sails for the local children at Fern Cove Park Playground, the park she named decades before. She was so pleased when they were installed by the city a couple of years ago. A bench and plaque at Fern Cove Park overlooking the playground would be a wonderful way to acknowledge and remember the long and exemplary service of Terry and Gay Gorton to the Wilson community and the remarkable roles they played in shaping the area's history. I hope the officer's recommendation received council's support tonight, on a day which their son Russell informs me would have been Gay and Terry's wedding anniversary. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Well said. Councillor Page, you got anything you'd like to add?
No, Mr. Mayor Hall, I definitely support the officer's recommendation, and I hope that bench and plaque inspires others to give such great service as Terry and Gay Gorton did over the years, and their contributions certainly can't be overstated. And yeah, hopefully we all get benches like that in our future from putting forward that much work into the community, which we really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Let's put the item to the vote. Just waiting for one more.
Motion IE-012-25 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you, Governance. And next item on the agenda is IE-013 of 25, the title of the report being Request for Tender, RFT 06/2025, air conditioning and mechanical extraction equipment service and maintenance. The officer's recommendation is on screen. It also appears on page 189. Can I have a mover, please? Happy to move it from the chair. A seconder? Seconder, Councillor Kunza, thank you. I've got nothing to say other than I accept the officer's recommendation and support it. Thank you. Councillor Kunza.
Likewise, Mr Mayor, I support the officer recommendation.
Thank you. Anyone have a question or wish to speak against the recommendation? Thank you. We shall put the item to the vote.
Motion IE-013-25 has been carried unanimously with all 10 voting in favour.
Thank you. The next item is IE 014 of 25, the title being Request for Tender 04/2025 Whaleback Food and Beverage and Alfresco Building Renewal Works. The officer's recommendation is on screen. The recommendation, which is in two parts, also appears on page 195 of tonight's agenda. Can I have a mover, please, for the item? Deputy Mayor, thank you. A seconder? Councillor Parkinson, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I support the officer's recommendation and look forward to the time when the renewal works are completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Parkinson.
Fully support the recommendation, and it's another step in allowing the City of Canning to have a world-class facility out at Whaleback. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on the item before I put it to the vote? Thank you, councillors. Let's put this item on the vote.
Motion IE-014-25 has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you. Let me see. I've got the numbering a little bit wrong here. Sorry. The Director of Customer and Community, Director Gary Fisher, has no reports from his directorate. Item 14, motions of which previous notice has been given. There are none. Urgent business this evening at item 15. There are none. Confidential matters at item 16. I'd like to thank members of the public who've remained behind. Thank you so much for coming this evening, for their attendance, and ask them to please leave the council chamber in order for council to consider a confidential matter. Can I have a mover and a seconder that confidential items be dealt with behind closed doors in accordance with section 5.23 in brackets 2 of the Local Government Act of 1995? Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Rodriguez, thank you. A seconder? That would be Councillor Page. We shall put the item to the vote. Thank you.
The motion to go behind closed doors has been carried unanimously with all 10 in favour.
Thank you, Governors. Can you confirm, please, that we are no longer live streaming the meeting? Thank you to those at home. The time is now 7:19 p.m. Council has been considering a confidential item. We have now adopted the item, and I can now read the officer's recommendation to you. I will just repeat that the item was IE 015 of 25, the title of the report being Request for Proposal RFP 03/2025 for the provision of waste management services and the endorsement of key terms sheet. The officer's recommendation, I will read it, has been adopted by Council unanimously, 10 in favour. The officer's recommendation was that Council 1 accepts the tender proposal from RE Group Proprietary Limited in response to the City's request for proposal 03/2025, provision of waste management services, as it has been evaluated as providing the most advantageous outcome. And 2, endorses the key term sheet set out in confidential attachment 1 as negotiated between the City of Canning and RE Group Limited, Proprietary Limited. And 3, requests the CEO to prepare a statutory business plan in accordance with section 3.59 of the Local Government Act 1995 to reflect the key terms as negotiated with RE Group, Proprietary Limited, and present this at the ordinary council meeting of the 19th of August 2025. Thank you, everyone. We move to item 17, which is closure. There being no further business tonight, I declare this meeting closed. The time now being 7:20 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance and their contribution. Thank you. The meeting is closed.